Have you ever woken up between 3 and 5 in the morning for no clear reason? Your eyes open, the world is still, and yet something inside you feels restless, as if an invisible hand has touched your shoulder. This moment is not random. In Buddhist wisdom, this is known as a sacred threshold, the time when night is surrendering to day, when the human heart is closest to the rhythm of the cosmos. It is a mysterious hour, wrapped in silence, where the veil between the ordinary and the divine grows thin. At 3 a.m., the air itself changes. It carries a weight, a subtle vibration, as though the universe is whispering secrets to those who are awake. The streets outside are quiet, the houses still, and even the earth seems to pause its breath. In this silence, your own consciousness rises like the lotus flower, untouched by the mud of yesterday, stretching toward the first light of tomorrow. For centuries, monks and sages have cherished this hour. They believed that meditation here is like lighting a lamp in the deepest darkness. One moment of awareness at this time could shine brighter than hours of practice in the chaos of the day. Ancient texts speak of dawn as the companion of awakening, the time when Buddhas of the past and seekers of the present alike touched the deepest truths. And perhaps when you wake at this hour, it is not your body that wakes you, but life itself. A calling, a reminder, an invitation to return home to yourself. Most people ignore it. They roll over, chase sleep, or lose themselves in the glow of a screen. But you have been given a chance to hear what others miss, the sacred hum of existence, the quiet song of awakening. So, what should you do if you find yourself awake between 3 and 5? How do you transform this strange moment into a blessing, into a practice that nourishes your heart and guides your path? Stay with me. In this journey, we will walk through 3 timeless practices drawn from Buddhist wisdom. Practices that are simple in action but profound in effect. They will show you how to breathe with the universe, plant seeds of gratitude, and step into the sacred dawn with clarity and peace. This hour is not a mistake. It is a gift. The question is, will you accept it? Number 1, sitting in silence, breathing with the universe. When you wake between 3 and 5 a.m., the world around you is so quiet it feels as though time itself has stopped moving. That silence, instead of being empty, carries a kind of presence. In Buddhist wisdom, this is what many call the sacred hour, and within it the simplest act, breathing, becomes a bridge to something far larger than yourself. Your breath at that hour isn't weighed down by the noise of daily obligations or the fragments of conversations still echoing in your head. It is lighter, clearer, almost like the steady rhythm of the ocean when the tide is neither rising nor falling. If you've ever stood near a forest just before dawn, you'll know the feeling. The air is cooler, carrying the scent of leaves and soil, and every sound seems amplified. The distant trickle of water, the occasional rustle of branches. In that stillness, even the faintest breeze feels like a teacher. Your breath in those early hours is just like that, subtle, powerful, a reminder that life is always unfolding beneath the surface. Buddhism often describes the breath as the gateway to awakening. It is not a technique to master, but a return to what is already there. At 3 a.m., when the veil between body and mind seems thinner, that return can feel almost magical. You don't have to label it meditation or push yourself towards some grand spiritual goal. Simply sitting, feeling the air enter and leave your lungs, can shift the way you carry yourself for the rest of the day. I once met a woman who told me that her favorite time to breathe deeply was while the sprinklers ran in her backyard before sunrise. She said the sound reminded her of steady inhaling and exhaling, and she felt her body sync with that rhythm. It wasn't about chasing enlightenment, just about being present with the simplest act of life. That is exactly what this sacred hour offers, a chance to notice what you normally overlook. Of course, the mind doesn't go quiet right away. Thoughts arrive like moths circling a lamp, memories of yesterday, worries about tomorrow, maybe even regret over waking too early. Instead of fighting them, let them flutter and drift away. This gentle allowing is the heart of mindfulness. Just as a river doesn't struggle to push leaves downstream, you don't need to struggle to clear your head. Presence is not about force, it's about remembering. So when you find yourself awake in those hours, don't reach for your phone or wrestle with the frustration of lost sleep. Try sitting upright, resting your hands softly and breathing as if the whole universe is breathing with you. Each inhale can be a reminder, here. Each exhale can affirm, now. Within minutes, the restlessness softens and what once felt like an inconvenience begins to feel like a blessing. The sacred hour between 3 and 5 a.m. is not a mistake of your biology. It's an opening, a quiet invitation. Breathing with awareness in this time is like planting seeds in the most fertile soil. Small, simple, yet capable of transforming the landscape of your inner world. Number 2, gratitude and affirmations, planting seeds in fertile soil. When the mind has softened through silence and breath, the sacred hour between 3 and 5 a.m. becomes a fertile ground. It is as if the soil of your consciousness has just been tilled, moist and ready, waiting for the seeds you will place into it. In Buddhist wisdom, the thoughts and words you nurture in this fragile window do not vanish into the air. They take root, shaping the way you meet the world once the sun rises. Gratitude is often described as the highest vibration the heart can carry. It is not simply a polite thank you or a fleeting acknowledgement of something nice. Gratitude is the choice to recognize what is already here, to see abundance where the restless mind wants to see lack. Imagine standing at the edge of a meadow at dawn, dew clinging to each blade of grass. The landscape hasn't changed from the night before, yet in the morning light every drop sparkles. Gratitude works the same way. It doesn't create anything new, but it allows you to see what was always shimmering. At 3 a.m., when you wake unexpectedly, the mind is unusually receptive. The chatter has quieted, the defenses are lower. This is why gratitude in the sacred hour carries such power. Whispering a simple acknowledgement, I am grateful for this breath, I am grateful for this body still carrying me, I am grateful for another chance to try again, can feel like watering the meadow with light. Each word sinks deeper because the soil of your subconscious is wide open. Affirmations, too, are not about tricking yourself into belief. They are gentle reminders of truths often buried under layers of doubt. To say I am enough or peace flows through me in the quiet of dawn is not to invent a new reality. It is to remember one that has been hidden. Think of it like the tide washing over seashells left in the sand. By midday, the shells are covered by footsteps and debris, but at dawn the waves reveal them again. Affirmations uncover what has been waiting for you all along. A friend once told me she began each day by whispering gratitude while her kettle boiled. She would place her hands around the cup, eyes closed, and softly affirm, "Today I will walk gently. Today I will choose kindness." She didn't frame it as ritual or religion. She said it was simply her way of meeting herself before the world could pull her in every direction. What struck me was how ordinary the act was, yet how extraordinary the effect. Gratitude and affirmation are like that, ordinary words with the power to tilt the entire day toward clarity and compassion. So if you wake between 3 and 5, don't rush to fill the silence. Let your first words be blessings. Even if no one hears them, the universe listens, and more importantly, so does your own heart. Gratitude turns the restless question of why am I awake into how can I use this gift. Affirmations transform the fragile darkness into a quiet promise of light. When morning fully arrives, the habits of the world will return. The emails, the noise, the hurry. But what you planted in that sacred hour will travel with you like an unseen current. Gratitude will steady you when challenges arise. Affirmations will remind you of your strength when doubt creeps in. And slowly, you'll notice the shift. Life doesn't feel like something happening to you, but something unfolding with you. In this way, the sacred hour is not just about what you do, but how you speak to yourself. It is a mirror, reflecting back the seeds you choose to sow. And when gratitude and affirmations are your choice, awakening is no longer a distant goal. It becomes the natural fragrance of your day. Number 3, warm water and intention, cleansing body and mind. By the time you have breathed in silence and planted gratitude in your heart, the sacred hour has already begun shaping the way you feel. But there is another practice, so ordinary that many overlook it, that can become a ritual of profound renewal, drinking warm water with intention. At first glance, it may seem too simple. How could a sip of water carry any spiritual meaning? And yet, in Buddhist wisdom, even the most mundane acts can become sacred if they are infused with mindfulness. Water has always symbolized clarity, transformation, and life itself. To drink it in the quiet of dawn is to acknowledge that your body and your spirit, just like the earth, need cleansing, nourishing, and flow. Picture a mountain stream at sunrise. The rocks are still cool from the night, the air crisp, and the first light glitters across the surface. The water runs clear, unhurried, carrying away yesterday's leaves and branches. Drinking warm water at 3 a.m. is a way of inviting that same freshness into your being. It is a gentle way of telling your body you may begin again. Warm water has a special quality. Unlike cold water, which shocks the system awake, or hot water, which overwhelms, warm water meets you halfway. It comforts as it awakens. It nudges your digestion into motion, flushes out what the body has finished processing overnight, and spreads warmth through your chest and stomach. In that simple flow, your body feels held, as if you are being cared for by the universe itself. But intention is what turns this into a spiritual act. To drink mindlessly is to miss the moment. To drink with mindfulness is to create a ritual of rebirth. Imagine holding the cup with both hands, feeling the warmth against your skin, pausing before the first sip. In that pause, you might choose a word: peace, compassion, clarity. You breathe it in with the steam, then let it flow into you with each swallow. This isn't magic, it's presence. Your body receives the water, and your mind receives the message. I once spoke with a man who said his morning tea was his prayer. He had no elaborate shrine, no incense, just a plain ceramic cup. Every morning he whispered a single intention into it. May I bring kindness to at least one person today. He said he never failed to keep that promise because he had spoken it into his first sip of the day. His life wasn't suddenly free of problems, but he described feeling as though each day had a center, something solid he could return to when things grew chaotic. That is the quiet power of drinking with intention. And you don't need special tools or rare herbs. Even plain warm water can become your teacher. What matters is the way you approach it. Are you rushing or are you honoring? Are you simply quenching thirst Or are you remembering that this moment is sacred? In the stillness of the sacred hour, when the rest of the world sleeps, a cup of warm water can be more than hydration. It can be a baptism into the day, a reminder that life is constantly offering renewal. With each sip, you are not just washing away the night, you are affirming your readiness to live fully awake. So the next time you find yourself awake between 3 and 5 a.m., let the simple act of drinking become your meditation. Let warm water be your river, and intention be the boat that carries you toward the sunrise. Number 4, stepping outside, embracing nature's first breath. When you wake between 3 and 5 a.m., there is a temptation to stay curled beneath the covers, hoping sleep will return. Yet if you take a few quiet steps outside, you will discover one of the most overlooked treasures of the sacred hour, the first breath of nature. The world at this time feels untouched. The air carries a freshness that disappears as the day unfolds. Even in a busy city, the streets are quieter, the wind softer, the sky more open. In Buddhist wisdom, dawn is considered the moment when the energy of the earth is purest. Stepping outside then is not just about stretching your legs. It is about aligning yourself with the living pulse of the universe. Imagine standing barefoot on the grass, dew still clinging to each blade. The cool moisture presses gently against your skin, grounding you in a way that no technology can imitate. You look up, and if the sky is clear, you see stars slowly fading, making space for the first glow of light. In that transition, you witness impermanence itself, the eternal truth that nothing stays the same, yet each change carries its own beauty. There is a quality to morning air that feels like forgiveness. It holds no memory of yesterday's mistakes, no anticipation of tomorrow's burdens. It simply enters your lungs, cool and generous, as if to say, begin again. Breathing it in, you may feel the edges of your anxiety soften, your thoughts quiet, your heart expand. A neighbor once told me that her favorite ritual was stepping outside at dawn to listen for the distant sound of trains passing. She said it made her feel both small and connected, that even though her life was just one among millions, she was part of something vast. That sense of connection is precisely what Buddhist practice calls interbeing. The recognition that your life is woven with every breath of wind, every sound of the earth, every star in the sky. Science even affirms what monks have known for centuries. Exposure to early morning light helps reset the body's circadian rhythm, giving you more natural energy throughout the day. The negative ions in fresh air can lift mood and reduce stress. But beyond the science lies something deeper, something you can only know by experiencing it yourself. The silence of dawn carries messages no book can translate. So, if you find yourself awake in the sacred hour, don't stay confined within walls. Step outside, stand still, breathe deeply, as though each inhale draws in the wisdom of the universe and each exhale releases what no longer serves you. You don't have to speak, though a whispered prayer or a soft expression of gratitude can flow naturally in that space. The important thing is to let the world meet you, to feel the morning air as a gift. When you return inside, you carry more than oxygen in your lungs. You carry the imprint of stillness, the memory of connection, the quiet power of beginning anew. And as the day unfolds with its inevitable challenges, you will find yourself less shaken, more rooted, because you touched the earth before the world could distract you. The sacred hour is not only about looking inward. It is also about remembering that you belong outwardly, to the sky, the wind, the soil, and the stars. By stepping outside, you awaken not just to yourself, but to the living, breathing universe that has always been waiting for you. The doorway before dawn. If you ever wake in the fragile hours between 3 and 5, remember that it is more than a restless interruption. It is a doorway quietly opening when the world is hushed. In that silence, you are invited to notice what is so often forgotten. The breath that carries you, the heart that still beats, the earth that waits to meet you with each dawn. These early moments hold a kind of sacred generosity. They don't demand achievement or perfection. They simply whisper, "Come back, begin again." And when you meet them with presence, whether in stillness, in gratitude, or in a simple step into the morning air, you begin to taste the truth that awakening is not somewhere far away. It is here within reach, woven into each breath of the sacred hour. As the day unfolds, you may forget. You may stumble, get caught in the noise, or return to old patterns. That is human. But what you carry from those quiet minutes before sunrise will not disappear. It will echo through your choices, soften your words, and steady you when the world feels heavy. And so, my friend, if this reflection has touched something in you, don't keep it locked away. Share it with a loved one who struggles to find peace, with a friend who wakes restless in the night, or even just with yourself by returning to it when you need reminding. And if you wish to keep walking this path together, join me here on Infinite Buddhist Teachings. Not because numbers matter, but because each view, each heart listening, is another ripple of mindfulness moving into the world. So tonight or tomorrow, if your eyes open in that sacred window, don't turn away. Let it be your teacher. Let it remind you that even in darkness, life offers you a chance to awaken.